Hi, my name is Pat Walsh. We're here in Anne Arundel County to do a presentation for the youth laws that the Potomac Rugby Union Youth League work to during the summertime, basically to support kids ages 5 through 14 play the two-hand tag game in preparation for hopefully playing the tackle game as they get older, go into high school and things like that. My background, just from your perspective, is actually started the first program up in Lutherville, Timonium, 95 or 96. I've been involved at the national level, was on the Youth Laws Committee that originally generated these rules, and of course we've had some modifications for the Youth League with this. Refereed since 2000, coached at college and men's and women's level, and worked with the kids since, again, 1995. So we're just going to go through the basics, and next slide. We're going to talk about rugby, refereeing rugby, the non-contact game, and please understand that it might sound a little simple. Non-contact doesn't mean no contact. The whole perspective is that we're not including the aggressiveness that you would see in the tackle game, so that the kids and the parents, and even you as coaches you as new coaches maybe, to rugby, learn what the game is about without worrying about the physicality that you'll have with tackle, which a lot of the kids are going to experience once you get into high school. We're going to go through the basic rugby principles and how we've adapted the two-hand tag game from the tackle game. Hopefully, most of the times when I do the presentation, I'll explain here's how it works in a tackle game, so here's how we do it in a tag game, so that you can get an appreciation for how the two relate. And also, for the coaches that are new to rugby, to learn maybe a little more about the tackle game that all of this is derived from. We'll cover refereeing positioning, and then we'll have concluding points. Bring up some of this, of course, we'll be adding. Page 3 doesn't hold anymore. Page 4 doesn't hold anymore. So we're going to get into page 6 about refereeing rugby. And this is going to be general aspects. The biggest thing that matters with being a referee is all you get to do is call what you see. You don't get to do what the sidelines tells you they saw. You don't get to suppose did he or did she do it properly or not. The question is, what did you actually see? And so one of the things that you see on the slide here is you have to be there. You can't be 20 yards away and see if there's a tag. If you have a situation where the ball carrier is running down the field and the tagger is between you and the ball carrier, and you see the tagger reach, how can you tell he's actually made contact with the player if you're on that line? Somehow you have to position yourself off to the side so you can see that contact. One of the biggest challenges we'll have is you have a breakaway and the kids are fast and maybe you're not as fast. So what you have to do is you can't follow the run, you have to take an angle so that now you can see that spacing between the tagger and the ball carrier and recognizing, did the tag happen or not. You have to be close enough, especially when you have what I call nuclear rugby, right? The ball is the atom, and all those electrons and neutrons are the two different, all the players right around the ball. You have to be close enough to see the tags. You have to be close enough to have that 1 meter of clearance that we'll talk about later when a tag occurs. And you have to be able to, the kids have to be able to hear your voice there so that they're listening to you rather than the voice being from a distance and maybe just disappearing with what the crowd noise is. Because I'm going to say, unlike a lot of men's games that you've played in, you're going to have sidelines with supporters. And they're going to be vocal supporters, hopefully more supporting their kids than yelling at the referee. But the fact is there's going to be noise, so everybody needs to be able to be close enough that the kids can hear you separate from what the sidelines are doing. Let's see. Probably a coach, most an educator. The biggest thing is you're there to encourage play. You're not there so much to make sure that illegal things happen. You're there more or less to monitor that the kids are learning the game and working to the rules so that they can get better in the game. And so a lot of times the things you're going to say are things to correct them. What you're trying to do is critique their play as opposed to criticize their play. You're trying to get them into the right position so that as offense or defense, the game can be successful. And partly so that the people on the sidelines who've never seen this game actually start learning what rugby's about. What they don't need is to find out that, okay, it's soccer because everybody's around the ball. The only difference is they're not kicking the ball with their feet. If you can work on getting kids in the position where they should be, the parents will start seeing what the difference is between rugby and soccer, or even that rugby's not football without pads and things like that. Partly the coach, as we said, fan management, which a lot of times what you want to do is if there's a knock on or if there's a forward pass, to try to indicate it and talk loudly enough, not just so the kids can hear it, but so the sideline supporters can hear it, so they start learning the game. One of the signs that we had that the spectators were learning, and this happened at the end of the first season when we had I'm going to say a decent league, was something occurred and we heard murmuring on the sidelines. And I made the observation to one of the coaches. I said, we've got good news and bad news. And both of it is that they're learning the game. So now they know when things are done right and things are done wrong. And to me, that's a plus. What we want to be able to do, what referees get to do, as well as the coaches, is foster an interest of rugby in the community. And to do that, the parents need to know. The kids are just going to say it's fun, but the parents need to learn enough about the game that when they're talking to other families and they say, my kids are really enjoying it, they might actually be able to explain to other families, here's what rugby is about, here's how it's different from the other sports, here's what's cool about it, and here's things that I've seen. As opposed to saying, I don't know what's going on, but the kids are having fun. Let's see. Never a policeman who just penalizes. There's going to be times when you're going to be calling out penalties. The whole point is to try to explain how the penalty occurred and hopefully find some way to give the kids a clue and maybe even the coaches a clue on what they can do so that they don't get penalized. I'll give another aside. You're going to have the situation where you're going to give a penalty and explain to some little kid this size what they did wrong. The child's going to say, well, I didn't mean to, and I'm going to suggest one of the things you want to do is say, I understand that, it's still a penalty. Okay? It's amazing how quickly the kids will start playing by the rules when they understand that they'll get penalized for going against the rules. And I'm going to say it's equally amazing if you keep ignoring it, how they keep doing it wrong. But they will adapt quicker than you will expect. And I'm going to suggest at times, don't be too nice. Just go ahead and call a rule. Don't do it in an accusatory way. Just inform them, here's what happened. Play will get better. And you'll have a better time in the game. Next slide. So we're going to talk about, this is going to be the overview. We're going to talk about prime situation is safety. No point in having a game if the kids are going to wait till tackle before they start getting hurt. The cool thing about the two-hand tag game is there are very few injuries. I've got medical kits in my van, and I'm going to say I've never had to pull them out. And again, this is now 15 years of working with youth rugby. We want space, that's what rugby is all about. Continuity. The kids are going to get bored, the parents are going to get bored if every time we have to stop because there's a knock-on and things like that. So what we want to do is try to do all that kind of encouragement. We are going to talk about the tag, what happens in a tag, rucks and mauls, restarts, and positioning. And positioning is where should you be as the referee to be able to see the play, but hopefully not get in the way of play. Next slide, please. Again, safety is paramount. Partly because if we're safe, we get to have a whole wide range of ages, male and female, playing together. When I have scrimmages at the end of practice, I've got 7-year-olds to 14-year-olds scrimmaging. The last half hour is usually for our U15, which is 11 to 14 years old, but the parents know that their U11 can go ahead and join in if they want to. I've got 7-year-olds making bursts. They're very hard to tag by the 14-year-olds. And the cool thing is they get to play at 14-year-old speed, and they start realizing capabilities that they have that they maybe would not realize at U11. The other thing is you've got kids at U11 age who they stand head and shoulders above the other U11. Now they have competition when they're playing at U15, and now they don't necessarily get to just depend on their own athletic ability. Now they have to start thinking, because they've got people as fast as them that they have to play against. And that bodes well when that special player now has to play against another team that also has a couple of special players, and now speed doesn't do the job for him or her. Now he's got to think, and he's already started thinking when we're doing scrimmaging. One of the key things here that we talked about, the biggest point of contact in the non-contact game is the two-hand tag. And what we want to realize is it's strictly a tag. The whole reason why all these ages can play is because it's a tag. It shouldn't be a shove. It shouldn't be a collision. You don't grab the jersey or anything like that. It's simply a tag. Blocking and obstructing is not so much a safety situation, except what you don't obviously want is the ball carrier is running, and next thing you know, well, first of all, I guess the whole key is what we don't want is for the kids to think it's football. So we don't want the blocking more than the obstruction. It's not really a safety issue. But if you're going to talk about the game being played well and people not getting frustrated, the taggers need to be able to get to the ball carrier like they're supposed to. Diving on somebody with the ball, it's not allowed. It's not allowed in the tackle game. Some of you guys don't realize that. But if somebody's on the ground with the ball, if you dive on them, a good referee's going to call a penalty because you're keeping play from occurring. Chasing after the ball, pushing and shoving. We run into this, I'm going to say in soccer, and I'll relate a lot of rugby to the different sports. If the ball's there and we have two players, myself and an opposition player, and we're going for the ball, I can't shove him out of the way. Let's do a demonstration. So the ball's that way, and I'm heading for the ball, and the opposition player is heading for the ball. What I can't do is do this and drive him out.
First of all, I'm the prop, so I would be doing it.
But he doesn't know I'm coming from behind, so he's just doing the right thing, and then I smack a prop. Why wouldn't I take the shot at the smack? So the whole thing is the ball's there, so we can come up and we can do equal and opposite, more or less, to go for the ball, but I can't even be throwing an elbow to throw him out there. Now, the key, and thank you, the key as a referee is, let's say both kids are going for the ball and they're both getting a little bit feisty. If it's equal and opposite, my suggestion is, as long as it's not getting to the danger point, you leave that be, as long as they're both doing the same thing. If one overdoes it for the other, then you're going to call a penalty on that person. You're going to explain what they're not supposed to be able to do and what they are allowed to do. And you want to try to say it loud enough so that the other players understand what's going on, so that the next player doesn't try to do it.